This is the old guardhouse on the Pendleton Historic Square, Village Green. It is often called. And we're going to go in the front door and speak to Joe McConnell, who is with the Pendleton District Commission. Hello, Joe.
Hey.
How are you? Good morning.
How are you?
Fine.
Welcome to my humble abode.
And it hasn't been your humble abode for very long,
It
has
hasn't,
it?
but it's real cozy and I love it here.
Great.
Yeah.
Can I have a seat here and
You
you
certainly
just tell
may.
us something about this building and the old Hunter store where you were housed?
Oh, I'd be happy to. I love sharing the history of Pendleton. The Pendleton District Commission is a regional tourism office who happens to be housed in Pendleton. We promote history and tourism in Anderson, Oconee, and Pickens counties. Started off as a historical commission only, funded by the 3 counties, and then 2 of the counties dropped out because we were only housed in Anderson County. And so our director at the time, Harley Batters, went to the state and said tourism and history go hand in hand, and they agreed. And so that's how the regional tourism concept for the state began. We're actually the first, and now there are 11 regions like ours across the state. So it was logical, being a historic commission, we should be in a historic building. And at the time, Hunter's store was available, and the building dates back to 1850. The Hunter family bought it in 1870, did business there until 1929, and built a new building next door, and that was referred to as New Hunter Store. And our commission was founded in 66, and in 68 we bought the building and moved in. Interestingly enough, that when we did, we put plumbing and electricity in for the very first time. And in 2008, after 40 years in the building, it was decided that we needed to do some major renovations, and Vicki Fletcher, who's our executive director, got a competitive grant through the state of South Carolina, thanks largely to our representatives Brian White and Dan Cooper, and we were able to begin the renovations of the building, which included the bones of the building. We have a new foundation, brickwork was done, all the windows were refurbished, a new fire escape was added, drainage, a new entrance into the basement, and a new roof. And all of those things make it a more sturdy building and certainly adds to its longevity that it's been maintained. So now we're to the pretty part, and we've got to raise some more funds. Our goal is to make it look like an old general store again. When folks come in, they feel like a step back in history, and in the process we'll promote the 3 counties and include the artisans in the 3 counties also. So we hope to do it in a very attractive fashion. During that time, we had to find a new home. Pendleton District Commission owned the Agricultural Museum, which is a big building out on History Lane as you enter into Woodburn Plantation off Highway 76. So it was set up as a farm museum, and we had to dismantle that and move everything to one end, because in Hunter's store is our historic collection, as I mentioned, was the beginning of our organization anyway. And we have a research library. People come and come and research their local and family history, and we have folks come from all around, including Europe, to come and research there. So we had to have a place for that collection, and all of that was boxed and moved to the Agricultural Museum, and we have an archivist curator who's unboxed it and put it out available for the public again. And we just felt like we needed a presence downtown Pendleton. Our offices are out there, but the town, luckily, owns this wonderful, sweet building. It dates back to 1850. We feel like probably the foundation of this building was the foundation for the first jail in Pendleton, because we found documentation where people requested that the jail be moved from the village green because they got tired of the men hooting and hollering at them out the windows when they came to town to shop. And so a new jail was built that's now a private residence. And on that foundation, they built a 2-story building that was known as the guardhouse, and it was for a military presence before, during, and after the Civil War. And the town maintains the building, and they, in 1911, it was decided that we needed a town library, and this section that I'm sitting in now just had an open air porch with a short roof over it, and in 1911 they expanded it the width that it is today, put the windows in all the way around, and this became the town library. And I actually brought my children here when they were small to the library, and they built a new one in 1976, and the town maintained the building. They allowed a garden club to have their meetings here, Macassa Garden Club, which they used for many, many years, and that garden club dismantled, and it was just sat here empty. So I approached the town and asked them if I came in and gave it a little TLC, could we possibly use it as our visitor center temporarily? And they were very gracious and said yes. And so a friend of mine, Helen Morton, came and helped me scrape and paint and spiff everything up and wash all the mold and mildew away and sweep up all the bottom. They had a carpet in here that the padding had just disintegrated. It was like sand. Got that all cleaned up and revamped some brochure racks so that people could pick up their brochures here. And it's just been wonderful. I have loved it. It's sunny and bright, and you see all the activity going around, so it's been a wonderful thing for the town and for us to have this partnership of me actually being housed here in the building.
Jo, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Enjoyed it.
Come again.